Hey there! Welcome back to another edition of Open My Eyes. I'm Jenny, and in today's video, we have an exciting topic lined up for all you JavaScript enthusiasts out there. Get ready to take your D365 model apps to the next level. Have you ever wished to add some extra functionality to your D365 model apps? Well, today, Ed is going to show you how to do just that by leveraging the incredible power of JavaScript OnChange events. In this video, we'll explore the ins and outs of integrating JavaScript OnChange events into your D365 model apps, enabling you to create dynamic and responsive user experience. Whether you're a seasoned developer looking to expand your D365 toolkit or a business user eager to optimize your app's functionality, this video is packed with valuable insights and practical examples. So grab your coding tools and get ready to dive into the world of JavaScript OnChange events for D365 model apps. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Open My Eyes with Ed. Today's, tutorial is predominantly for beginners, and it's to show you how to add a JavaScript to your model app. So, in these scenarios, we want to fire something client-side. What I mean by client-side is front-end, so that formatting or some piece of code can fire off. So what I'm going to show you today is how to create a JavaScript file, how to upload one, how to connect it to a change event, so on a field, when you change a field, what it looks like, and the practicalities of doing so. I'm going to also include the JavaScript on the link. We'd appreciate it, obviously, if you donate some money to keep running the channel. Haven't done it for a while, so anything and everything helps. Let's begin. So, those that are not familiar with CRM and Dynamics 365, I would recommend you going to make.powerapps.com here at the top. This link will allow you to create solutions. Any changes, I would recommend creating a solution first. That way you keep it separate from the default solution, but also allows you to transfer files from environment to environment. This is my dev environment. I would recommend you all trying to do the dev environment also. I'm creating a simple property portal for client, and on this we need something to fire off the JavaScript. So that's the scenario today. So I've created already a solution called the property portal. In here we're going to fire the JavaScript on a particular table. This can be done for any tables, but I'll show you on this particular table. What we want is that the address fields are entered individually, so address 1, 2, 3, so on. But if a field is empty, so let's say most addresses in the UK, especially in London where I'm based, do not have address 2, certainly rarely have address 3. So what we would like is to display the address without any gaps. So for labeling, for emails, for any communication that goes externally that you need this address to be shown, it's very handy to not have gaps in between. So I'll show you on the form. So most of the JavaScript is done on the form to be fired off. We're going to use a JavaScript to firing things off. Here, let's see. So we've got address 1, an address 2, an address 3, city, postcode, county, country. We have a field called address composite, so that's just the combination of these. So the idea is, if address 1 is filled or changed, it fills it into address composite, and it will read all those fields and display the address nice and neatly. So I'll show you what that looks like in practicality. We'll open up a new record, and in here we've got a name, so test property, we'll call it property code. We can put anything, doesn't matter. And this is where the JavaScript will fire. So I'll show you what this looks like. So address 1, address 2, address 3, city, put London, postcode, test 1, 0, QH, for instance, oops. And county we don't have to have. So you can see here now on the composite, it's got the address field. There's no gap in terms of missing data. But let's say we didn't have address 3, for instance. We change that, you can see the composite field rolls that out nice and neatly. Potentially address 2 as well, if you just had address 1. And you notice these are in blue. So these two are lookup fields. If you're interested in defining what a lookup field is and how to do that on a form, please let me know, comment below, and I can go through what a lookup field is, probably in one of my other tutorials, and how to set these values. So that's the basic functionality of what the JavaScript does. Let's get on to connecting them all up. So now we go to our property form. And we look at an event. So on here you have an update field event and an on handler. So before these are connected, I'll show you what it will look like. We'll need to add a JavaScript library to this form, or to this table as well. So the way that you would do that, you'll see form libraries up here at the top, or it's also accessible here. So they have a nice little toolbar at the top, but some icons here on the left. You hit form libraries. Here's one that I've created, of course, property table, JS, naming convention. CC is just my publisher, so don't worry about that. But the naming convention, I'd like to be obvious to what it's called. So once you've created a JavaScript, you can add the library. Here it is. I'll show you what that looks like on a JavaScript. So you can see here, this is a simple JavaScript. It has 2 functions. Let's minimize that for now. So one function is the update field function. It provides an execution context. I'll describe that in a moment. And from there, we use a form context, so we get the form context and we move it to the other function, which is update composite. You can see it's highlighted here. Now these bits of code, I guess JavaScript code, will just do a couple of things. It will help a format. It will look at all fields or attributes as they're called, and it will read the data and gather data into the address composite as we saw. So what we need to do is lookup fields are slightly different, handled slightly different. They are in the form context. It's a get attribute. You need the field name, all lowercase. It's the logical name. So let me show you what that looks like. So you can see here's country ID. So if we go back to the table and we'll use up the columns. So it's on the property. Go back to the columns. And now we're going to look at country ID. You can see here there's a capitalized C and capitalized I. It's not that naming convention you need. You need to go into the column, go to advanced options, and you'll see it's the logical name, all lowercase. That's really important because JavaScript and the get attributes will not fire, or it will return null values if you're using the schema name. That's something that one had to find out. So let's go back now to our form. On the property table, go back to forms. You can open several pages if you want, rather than going back and forth. That's totally up to you. I prefer my tabs not to get more complicated than they are, but it depends on how you like to work. So now that we've got our JavaScript, we're going to go through the get attribute, field name. Remember, that's the logical name. We're going to go get the value. Off it goes and gets value. We do a check here, country. Is the country ID null? And if the country object, so the country object has returned a value, so it's 0 based. So if you guys are familiar with C# or any development, most arrays are based 0 based. So that's why that 0 is there. It just says the first object. So is country ID empty, apologies, if country ID is not empty and country ID array position 0 is not empty, then go get the name of the country. So that's just a field name, again, logical name of country object. So we could probably rename that to country object. So I could name that to, let's see, country, replace that country object. So we'll say country rather than, so country ID, country. So we'll replace that all. There we go. That makes it a little bit clearer. And then the same for city ID. We can do city ID and we'll just do city to make it a little bit clearer on what it's doing. So we do the same again for city. We go get the value. Notice there's a question mark there. So that allows us to not have a null exception. So if city or country is empty and we try to perform the get value without the question mark, it will error. You know, that lovely error I think most coders have come across now and again. Object not set to an instance of an object. That's the type of error that you would get. So yeah, question mark allows that to be a nullable value. We'll get the name, and then you can see here I'm performing field 1, field 2, field 3, all the address details. I create a new blank array, and then I just go through. If field 1 is not blank, push field 1 with a new line. So that's the escape character for new line. And we do that all the way to field 7. We then join the array together, and then we look for our composite attribute. You'll see here, get attribute. So we just double check, is composite attribute empty or defined in this case, because we're just getting the attribute. And if it is not, so if it's available, we set the value, and then we move the composite value, which is the non-blank, so all the gathering of the non-blank fields together. That just enables it to fire off, and it's real time. So, you know, some of you might say, why wouldn't I do this via the back end? So via Microsoft Flow or Power Automate. The problem with that is, for it to fire off, an action needs to happen on the record, meaning you either need to save it, and then you don't see it real time, so you save the record, wait for the flow to fire, then refresh the screen. It's not a very good user experience. So this way with JavaScript, it's front end, it's available straight away to users. You don't have to worry about the back end synchronizing or flows being asynchronous or anything like that. So let's connect the two. What I want to do is upload the property JS to my instance of Dynamics. So what we'd have to do, there are two ways to do it. Either we do it here via the add library button on the form. By doing this, however, it will create a new web resource. You can see here the naming convention now comes to the default publisher or creator. If you're okay with that, then by all means carry on. If not, and you want your naming conventions to be accurate, as I do, I would recommend going back, highlighting new or all here in the objects of your solution, click new, more, and under web resource. Here you can see the publisher name. Now the default is taken by my publisher and what the solution contains. You choose your file, you go to your JavaScript repository wherever you save the file, upload it, click that, click OK, open. You'll see it's now stored it. It's automatically selected the type. You'll go to display name, and this will be the name, the database name that it will store it in. You have some other options, but those are not relevant for today. Once done, the JavaScript is then viewable. It's a web resource, so it's stored in CRM. You can go to the advanced options to then view what that looks like. So you can see here there's a Dynamics URL. You just select that. It will open a new tab, and you can see the JavaScript that's been uploaded, comments and all. Now, we need to tie this JavaScript to a field, so when it fires off. So let's go back to our property table. We want to go to the forms, and we want to open up the form that we want this logic to fire. Okay, so what I want to happen is I want to upload this into this form. So go to the JavaScript library, form libraries, add library, and you can search for it here. Once you've added it, it becomes searchable. So I wanted property JS, right? Property table, yeah. Because it's already added, it will not be viewable. So if I remove that, you'll see. We'll add that again. So it obviously doesn't allow you to add it more than once if it's already been added. So we'll add, and you can see here. So now what we want to do is to fire this JavaScript for on exit of these fields, so on change. So not just on exit, but we want it when the value changes, we want it to fire up our JavaScript. To do that, you need to highlight the fields that you want. So in this case, address 1, you'll go over to the right hand side. Sometimes it's minimized, but once you highlight it, you can see this bar on the right hand side. You'll go to events and you'll see OnChange. So OnChange, you select what you want. There's only one option, so OnChange. Select the library that you've added already. So sometimes you might have multiple libraries to the one form or one table. That's a good way to break out code. So if you have code that's being called by other locations, or just standardized code, for instance, you want to call a web service, rather than creating a separate JavaScript for each table or each form, you can standardize that call. That's the reason for multiple libraries. Function, it wants to be the function name of your JavaScript that you want to call. So if I show you what that looks like, it's our top one. So in this case, it's called update field. You could potentially use just update address composite direct, but I prefer to have them separated just in case the code needs to change. It's a bit easier for callable functions. So update field is our function that we need. So that's the key to connect them up. So we want to put that in here in that field. So let's copy that. That can be anything. So I've called it update field. You're going to pass the execution context as a parameter. So that execution context just passes the context of the form. So in this instance, or it's the context of the action. So in this instance, it's the form. We want to know the fields on the form. We want to read them. So this is very important here to pass the execution context. Once that's done, click done. You'll see there's no table column dependencies that we need to worry about for now. That's the handler, update field. And that's it. That's how you connect both together. And once you exit a field, you'll see the address composite update. What you need to do, save and publish. once you save and publish, that will update the front end, if you will. And I would also recommend, because I've seen this now and again, I would also recommend coming back to your solution. Go to your property table and go to your tables in general and highlight the table that you've made the changes. Then click publish. This just forces anything through. I've seen JavaScript where you've made these changes and it's not working. So one way to double check that things are working and steps are happening through, you can use something called a debugger. And by adding this line here that's commented out, debugger, it allows the front end, so Chrome is really good for this, to step through the values. So I'll show you this change now. I'll do this change for debugger, and then for us to show you how we go about debugging. So made this change, I need to upload, so don't forget, if you make a change to the file, you need to re-upload your JavaScript, because the link isn't there. It needs to be forcibly updated each time. So you'll find your JavaScript here in web resources on the left, or if you go to all attributes. So for now, it's under web resources. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to choose the file again. So for me, it's the property library. You'll see the name will change, but everything else, so the display name remains the same, the logical names, etc. remain the same. Hit save. And while it's saving, we think about how we're going to deploy that. So we go to the publish button. Here we highlight what we want. We'll publish again just to make sure it goes through. So now the front end has been updated. What we'll do is we'll close this off. So the front end needs to be refreshed. So we'll refresh this a couple of times just to make sure it picks up the new JavaScript that's been published. In Chrome, you go to the three dots, more tools, and developer tools. So from here, you'll see a lot of stuff firing up. Of course, we won't go into those, but don't worry. We're only looking for our debugger. You'll see it hit the debugger if all goes well. So we'll click new. We'll give it our name again, test1. Probably go test1. It's fine. Now, when we make this change, when we exit the field, so if I do test or address 1, let's do address 1. So you can either tab out or click out of it. So we'll tab out of this one. You'll see here, boom, it's hit our debugger. So the function now goes through. This is something really, really handy. If you're like me, you like to debug and just make sure things are coming through. So the one with the round step over function is the miss callable code. So if it's linking to other callable features, you don't need to go into. Or you go into, so this steps into each line. So we'll do that for now. You'll see now it's going to go get the attribute, country. So I've stepped into it. And you'll see, well, what does get attribute mean? So that's it going through, getting attribute. If you wanted to step over that function, you just press this one. So you'll see now it's got a country object. It says it's undefined. So that means it didn't find a country object. So that's fine. It's on a new record. Probably didn't find a country object. You can see here in the back end, but it's not saved to the database. So that's probably why it's null. So you'll see it skips the country name. That's fine. Not a problem. We'll go next. We'll see, okay, city. City is blank, you can see here. So I expect it to skip city. Yes. Now you get into the crux of it. So address 1 is filled in. So we'll see that. Great. So let's just double check what address 1 says. Aha, it says address. Great. So now address 2 is blank, address 3 is blank, city name is blank. We know, of course, postcode, county, country name is also blank. Now it goes through our array. So it creates an array, you can see here. A length of 0 at the moment because we've got no objects in there. it does field 1, new line. So let's check if field 1 is not blank. It adds it. You can see here. Now the array has got address 1, new line. Address 2 is blank. You can see all the others are blank. And then it just checks, have you got an address composite field? Get me that. Yes. Okay, it finds that. Finds where the page is. It finds all sorts of controls. Don't worry about those. And we just want to pass the set value of address composite. So once I exit there, if you look at the screen behind up here, you'll be able to see the value get set. Once we go through, it finishes and it sets. And that's it. There we go. Once the scripts run, it sets it. And that's it. That's our code. So I've included all the hooks on this one. See, address 2, it will fire because we've obviously got debug. If you don't have debug open, or the debugger open, you'll see it won't trigger that. So if I close that off, the debugger doesn't open. I would say it's best to not have debugger because anybody could debug into your code. It literally should be only made for when you are debugging and checking that out. So let's do, I don't know, south 0QH. And there we go. So you can see here, United Kingdom has not been set, but we can, once it sets it, we can set that up to fire off. So it's not set for this one, but we can do the same as we did for city. And that's it. That's the address. We'll hit save. And then we'll go back to the debugger so you can see all the values. So if I do address, just move address 2 out of the way. And we'll go back to more tools. Let's do an underscore. So you guys can see what that looks like. So now you'll see that country, you'll get city. It will go through address 1, 2, and 3. Country name. And if you can put a breakpoint as well. See where I've highlighted line 51. If you do that and press the blue, it will go straight to your line. So now we can see what the composite value looks like. There you go. Address 1, underline, address 3, and then you've got postcode. City and country haven't been added, so we'll go back and do that now to tidy up the code. And there you go. It fires off. Now a composite. So let's remove the debugger, make the change to city and country, and hopefully we can finish the video. Let's go through. So we want to make that change. Go back to property. Go back to forms. Go property detail. And we're going to fire these events off on the city as well as. Just going to make sure update field is there. Event field, fantastic. Back and check table names. T. Okay. So you can see there, the error in the code is exactly that. The replace that I did, obviously replaced it country ID to country, so that's no longer there. So we'll quickly make this change, save it, and then upload it again. Remember, must upload any changes. You must re-upload changes to the JavaScript library. So we'll do that now, hit save, and then we'll do publish. At the moment it's still got the debugger, so we'll make that change after, but it will show you, hopefully, when we do debug, what that looks like. Once that's updated, let's have a look. Yep, we'll do a couple of refreshes just to make sure it loads the new JavaScript. There we go. So now we'll open up the tools, more tools, developer tools, and this time we'll clear out the field. You'll see it hit there. I want the breakpoint to be, let's say here. Let's play. You'll see now city and country is now filled in. City, London, country, United Kingdom, you can see there, those two values. And then we'll set the composite address just to check what it looks like. And there we go. The address that is, you can see address 2 is not filled in because we just cleared it, hence the firing off. But this is what address composite will look like for us. And then we finish off firing that up. And there you go. Nice and easy. There's no need for it to go to the back end or Microsoft Flow. You could achieve the same thing, but you would have to save the record. So save and close, or save the record so it fires that off. That runs in the background, and then you would have to refresh the screen because the screen is static. I hope this has been clear. Any questions, any comments, anything that you need to display, or if your code is not working, let me know. I'll put a link also in the description for you to be able to download that for a very small fee, something like £1, just over $1 for you American listeners, to download the script. I'll include a bit of this solution as well for you guys to see the premise, for you to upload into your own development environment. But just give me some feedback. It's one of many videos that I want to do around dynamics and Power Apps and model apps. So do reach out.